Pretty interesting article here talking about John Malkovich in an interview he did recently. The interview was supposed to talk about Space Force, his new Netflix show with him and Steve Carell. And I don't know anything about that show. I don't know if it's good or not. It's supposed to, I guess, kind of be a version. It's like a version of The Office, but it revolves around the Space Force, obviously, and not a paper company. So it's going to be a little bit different. Now, I could be wrong on the setup for this show. I haven't seen it yet. I don't even know if it's out yet. So maybe I'll check it out and see if it's any good. But the thing that I'm interested in are his comments on outrage culture and woke Twitter and canceling people and all that, because I can't stand that. I think it's dumb. And the people that really get hit are comedians. We just had a thing recently, if you remember, Jimmy Fallon. Now, I didn't cover that, but what happened here, let me give you the quick story, is 20 years ago, when he was on Saturday Night Live, he impersonated Chris Rock, and in the skit, he wore, black makeup. So you know how that's going to go. Now, a lot of comedians have come out and defended him, but it doesn't matter. He still has to come out and apologize, and he did. And there was a whole cancel Jimmy Fallon thing all over Twitter. Of course, on Twitter, there was. Where else would it happen? Twitter is a dump. And I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Twitter and Facebook and a lot of other companies, considering what's going on in the government. There was an executive order that was signed recently, making it different for these companies. Now, I don't know how that's going to play out. I don't know a lot about law and how, that order is going to really change anything. We'll see what happens. But what I do like about it is I think that that's a step in the right direction. These companies shouldn't be able to censor people, because all of these companies, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, they're the public square. Okay, you should be able to get on here and voice your opinion. I don't think you should be able to get on here and say, crazy things like, you're going to take out all of these people or something. That there's a line there, but I think that line is pretty obvious. Getting on here and just talking about your political beliefs and stuff like that, I think that should be okay and allowed and encouraged, because that should create conversation. I mean, that's what it's supposed to do. And then, maybe we can get people to change minds and stuff like that. But they don't allow that. There's only one view of thought that is allowed on all these social media platforms. And if you don't have it, unfortunately, eventually they yeet you off. And in other cases, you can get canceled. And that's what he's talking about here. So being John Malkovich sometimes means calling out stupidity. The 66-year-old actor who stars in Netflix's new series Space Force blasted outrage culture on Thursday, calling it toxic, which it is. It's very toxic. Okay, every time something like the Jimmy Fallon thing happens, people go crazy. It was 20 years ago, number one. 20 years ago. That's a lifetime ago for many people. Okay? It shouldn't mean the man's career is over. But this isn't taken into account by people. It doesn't matter. They're still going to get on there, and they're going to want his life even. It's really disgusting what happens with this stuff. He says, what's funny, yesterday becomes illegal today, and the person uttering it must be canceled, Malkovich told the New York Daily News. Outrage culture is as strong as it is toxic. And that's a really good point. Like I said, 20 years ago, he did this. And while it might have been a little bit, it was a little bit different back then. Okay, and then now you can't do that. But because he did it 20 years ago, oh boy, it's over. And you know what I find really funny is how selective and hypocritical the people that call Jimmy Fallon out are. Because if you remember, Canada's prime minister got busted doing this. Where was the insane outrage for that? There wasn't much talking. There wasn't a lot of people talking about it. He gave a very lengthy apology, and they let it go. Okay, it's all good. We're just going to ignore what Justin did. But a comedian, that's a little bit different. Like, he was doing it for a joke. Okay? I don't think that there was any maliciousness in what he was doing. I think it was just funny. And for this, and you know what? To be fair, it could have been the same with Justin Trudeau. I don't know. He could have been doing it as a joke as well. But my point is, they let him go because he's in a critical position of power and he shares their ideology. They don't let it go with Jimmy Fallon because he's an expendable person who can be sacrificed to the woke gods. And because of that, he doesn't get a second chance. He just gets crucified. And that's the point. And you're seeing it right now with a lot of other stuff, particularly in the METOO movement. You know, you're seeing it with the stuff that the former VP that's running for the presidential election right now, he has some people accusing him of stuff, and they let that go because, well, you know, got to get the orange man out. So we're just going to ignore that, even though we pushed the same stuff on him. I think everyone should be held to the same standards if that's how we're going to go. It's a hypocritical bunch, these cancel culture people. They're all hypocrites. So anyway, let's continue on. Malkovich also said that comedy nowadays isn't what it used to be. Part of what makes it difficult is also the tidal wave of idiocy that can be created on social media in a day, the outrage mob. And that's 100% true. You can get things going real quick. A really good example is the other day, there was this trending, his Burger King is canceled. And it was really stupid. It was a bunch of stands for Taylor Swift. Apparently, so this one profile asked Burger King, what's your favorite Taylor Swift song? And the Burger King social media account said the one about her ex. And apparently, a bunch of Taylor Swift stans got really upset by that and started roasting Burger King with the hashtag Burger King is over party. Kind of in a parody of the Jimmy Fallon is over party. And that one turned out to be a little bit different. It was a lot of people making fun of how stupid that was, which happens from time to time because that was really dumb. And the people with more sane levels actually canceled out the crazy stance. But it's just an example of how this stuff can move. That could have went the other way if it had been a little bit more toxic in what Burger King had said. But it's a really good example of how quick things like this can move. And that is part of social media. Before, it would have taken time for something like that to happen. But with everyone so connected, all of these weirdos can come together to slam and cancel people. And he's also right about comedy being different. Remember, Dave Chappelle did a comedy special not that long ago. It was very funny. And unfortunately, it upset, well, I would say actually, fortunately, it upset the crazies because you get to see these people be lunatics over the most a bunch of nonsense. But, you know, people forget comedy is supposed to push limits. It's supposed to push what's okay to say. That's the purpose of it, is to push boundaries and barriers. But people don't forget that. They don't want to remember that. They want to forget it. And that's kind of the problem with comedy. And I think that that's what he's getting to right there. The actor's comments echo those made by other comedians, including Jamie Foxx. The comedian recently defended Tonight Show host Jimmy Fallon after he was ripped for appearing in B-Face while impersonating Chris Rock for a 2000 sketch on Saturday Night Live. Fox said, "Let this one go." And I agree with him there. Should let it go. It's 20 years ago. It's 20 years ago. Now, one thing that I don't know is, what did Chris Rock say about it? I actually tried to find his statement. I couldn't find anything. If he has come out and said anything, I would think he'd say let it go as well. I'm kind of wondering why he hasn't said anything, if that's true. Like, why wouldn't he come out and support his colleague? So I don't know if I'm wrong there. If Chris Rock has said something, please let me know in the comments, because I did look around and I couldn't find anything from Chris Rock, which I was kind of a little like, wow, why wouldn't you come out and defend your buddy here? You've been on his show, because I did find a clip of you on the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon. So why wouldn't you come out and defend him? I think he should. They're both comedians, and he knows what's going on here. So a slew of other comedians have also criticized the political correctness across the U.S. nowadays. I don't play colleges, but I hear a lot of people tell me don't go near colleges. They're so PC. Megastar Jerry Seinfeld said a few back. Rock also said he doesn't go to colleges anymore because they are too conservative. Now, here's the thing. He's saying too conservative. He doesn't mean that as a political view. He means it in the same thing that Jerry said here, too PC. Okay? A lot of stuff is going back to, like, in some ways, like 1950s, like where you can't say things. Like women can't even they can't even show off their body in media anymore. You have to be almost covered head to toe. It's really strange. But yeah, I've heard the college thing from a lot of people. If you go there, if you say anything, there's like, oh, jazz hands, stop it, don't clap, it's triggering, and stuff like that. Like, you really have to walk on eggshells to say anything, and that's not how it should be, particularly for comedy, which is really sad. There's not a lot of good comedians anymore because there can't be. They'll get canceled. The two that I really like that don't care are Bill Burr and Dave Chappelle. I think that they're two of the last great mainstream comedians, and when they quit, I don't know who's left. If you know any good comedians that are as funny as them, can you leave? I would love to hear some suggestions in the comments for those too, because I love good stand-up, but I just haven't been able to find any that are worth watching lately. So anyway, not in their political views, but in their social views and their willingness not to offend anybody, he explained. You can't even be offensive on your way to being inoffensive. Okay, so that he was referring to the same PC thing as Jerry Seinfeld there. Comedians have for eons danced around the edge of what is appropriate, often crossing the line in an attempt to make people laugh and think, but that is changing amid the outrage and cancel culture. And that's exactly what I was saying. That's what comedy is supposed to do. Comedy is supposed to be offensive. That's the point of it. But people don't understand that. And it's really sad. And it's not just in comedy. Entertainment has been affected by this. Every form of entertainment has been affected by this, from comics to video games to movies to television. It's not just comedy, drama, action movies, everything has been changed by these people. And I don't know how long it will take to change it back, or even if we can change it back. I think, one of the ways to get around this is, of course, crowdfunding your own stuff. I want to put a comic book out eventually, like things like that. Those kinds of things can work because, I don't care about the outrage culture. I'll put out whatever the hell I want, and it will be, I will be beholden to nobody. And I think that that's a good way to get around it. But as far as mainstream stuff, that's gone. I don't know how we get it back. I think that a lot of the industries need to crash and burn to change. You're seeing it with Hollywood. Disney's taking out billions of dollars of loan money to stay afloat right now, right? And that's because of everything going on right now. They're not bringing much money, and the parks are closed. They can't show any new stuff. All they literally have at the moment is Disney Plus revenue, which is not enough. So with them going through cash, right, and you can apply this to other studios as well, are they going to pull this woke stuff back and make stuff that people actually want to watch so that they can make money again? And I think that that's going to be an interesting thing to watch when things get back to normal. We'll see what happens, They could double down on it. We'll see. But anyway, the rest of the interview is about it's about the Space Force show, which I'm not particularly that interested in talking about because I haven't seen it. Seems like an okay show, but I do like seeing John Malkovich and other people come out and talk about this because I think it's important, and I think that they do have somewhat of a voice So it's good to see people speak out about it because it needs to be pulled back before things get pushed out of control. Anyway, that's it. Thanks for watching. Give me your comments, your likes, share the video, and make sure you still subscribe. Subscribe if you're new. Hit that notification bell, and I will see all of you on the next one. Peace. Also, if you want to help support the channel, check out my Teespring store. There's a link in the description. You can find some merchandise in there that you might want to check out.